Joining me now, Dr. Robert Groot with the Earthquake Science Center, which works with the U.S. Geological Survey. Doctor, thank you so much for being with us. You know, we just heard from Nancy there. Obviously, Southern Californians are very used to this. East Coasters, maybe not so much. We know it's not common, but obviously it can happen. Kind of explain why that is.
Yes, earthquakes all over the country. In fact, 143 million people in the United States are exposed to damaging shaking or could be exposed to damaging shaking. So while California and Oregon and Washington and other parts of the West, including Alaska, are considered earthquake country, really earthquakes can happen in many different places. But we realize that folks in New York probably don't feel earthquakes very frequently, but I took a phone call from someone in Hoboken just a few minutes ago and had a talk with him and really assured him that he knew what he was doing. So people should know, even in the case of any emergency, what to do to stay safe. In the case of earthquakes, it's drop, cover, and hold on.
And Dr. DeGroot, just talk about the possibility of aftershocks, because we know that it's a real possibility. What could they look like? When could they happen?
Yes, and so we do some calculations around aftershock probabilities, and the numbers that we have currently is that there's something on the order of a 45% chance of a magnitude 3 aftershock over the next week or so. And it goes down quite considerably. Magnitude 4, about 16% chance, and then even less so, a magnitude 5, about 3% chance. So there is still a chance that aftershocks will happen. I mean, about twice a year or so in the New York region, in the tri-state region, there are earthquakes that people could potentially feel. But damaging earthquakes are around every 2 or 3 times a century, so not very frequent.
And just talk about why cities so far away. I mean, we heard reports that people in Boston felt it. We heard that's to the north. We heard that people, you know, in Philadelphia, even in D.C., were able
Yes.
to feel it.
Yes, it turns out that in the West, the ground that you're standing on is chopped up into many different pieces. And also that ground is a lot warmer. And think of being in a fun house with mirrors and lenses. Waves get scattered and they're going all directions. And that's what happens to us out here in the West. So earthquakes of a similar size, like one last night in Northern California near Chico, probably is not going to be felt as far away. But places in the East, you have earthquakes that are relatively smaller and are felt very far away. I was in Chicago a few years ago, and I talked to somebody who felt the 2011 middle earthquake in Virginia, and they felt that earthquake in Chicago. So really far distances. So it just turns out the ground is cold, and that transmits seismic waves so much more efficiently.
And you know, we're now learning, or some people already know, that earthquakes happen, you know, small earthquakes. But what does it take for something that is a 4.8 to happen? And kind of just explain what a 4.8 means. And could this area potentially see something even larger?
Yes, so the numbers that I stated earlier about the percentages of chances of sizes of earthquakes, that size, over the next week or so, are relatively small. So earthquakes like this, the magnitude 4.8, something that could potentially cause damage in an area like the tri-state area, doesn't happen very frequently at all. So you're not going to see them as often. Of course, if you're in places like California, you're going to see them much more frequently because we have those earthquakes all the time. But they still can happen.
Okay. And just talk about, are you surprised that we aren't seeing reports of major structural damage? And just explain that that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not there, right? Because obviously the quake could have caused some type of fissure or cracks that could maybe be seen later on.
I had a chance to listen to the press conference for the city of New York, and the folks that were talking about being very thoughtful about making sure that the places that you're occupying, like your buildings and inspections and all the work that the city of New York is doing in other cities surrounding that may have felt the earthquake, inspecting train lines, that's all really important.
Yeah.
And so it's showing that there's a responsibility that's being taken to make sure that everything is safe. So am I surprised? I think we have really good building codes and really good structures. Although, you know, it's always good to make sure that everything is intact.
Yeah, sir. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.